Number 11 on the list and squarely inside of the top 12, the Tennessee Volunteers. And ultimately, we can discuss depth on defense. We can discuss transfer, LSU offensive linemen transferring in to make the offensive line better. Josh Heupel's offense evolving last year to run the ball a little bit more and be more balanced and to sort of understand his quarterback strengths and weaknesses. Ultimately, we can say all that stuff, but this is exclusively about the young quarterback. And if Nico Yamaleava is a superstar and is the 5-star number 1 player in the nation, the way we've seen all these other guys be, Tennessee is going to be competing for a playoff spot next year.
Yeah, I have questions about Tennessee's defense. They brought in 3 transfers in the defensive backfield. It's an area that needs to get a lot better. I've got question marks on certainly at the other 2 levels. Doesn't matter, because I think that Nico could just simply be that good and he could simply outscore a lot of teams. What's funny about Tennessee last year is, last year was offense for Josh Heupel. That was the lowest scoring average that he's had as a head coach. And they still had a pretty successful, season overall, I would say. Obviously, I know the loss to Florida wasn't great, but putting all that aside, if that's the floor for Tennessee's offense, and it can only get better from here, you have to feel pretty optimistic if you're Tennessee. Also, I think the schedule sets up pretty favorably for Tennessee, with Alabama coming in and a potentially we think a semi-rebuild year with all the changes at Alabama, and they have to go to Georgia. But outside of the Oklahoma game, Tennessee might be favored to win 9 or 10 games right off the bat.
A total coincidence, of course, that Josh Heupel and Oklahoma's first game in the SEC is against their former quarterback who led them to the national championship. And when Bob Stoops had to fire him, of course. I agree with because again, if you look at their losses last year, struggled to score offensively against Florida early in the year on the road, tough environment, scored nothing against Missouri, scored nothing against Georgia, scored nothing in the second half against Alabama. So I think a lot of that is more about, unfortunately, the limits of the quarterback situation and the injuries to the receiver position. So with Brew McCoy coming back, if they have a better quarterback now and maybe a more complete offense, the running game should still be excellent. And again, I think the defense needs to take slight marginal steps forward from a depth standpoint. And if that happens, I agree. I think 9-3 is the floor if Nico is good. If Nico's good. If Nico has got one major year of learning, the way maybe Drew Aller at Penn State did last year, where he just kind of needed to be a starting quarterback for a year before it clicks. That's happened to plenty of really very talented guys in the SEC and everywhere else. But if it's good right away, they're a 9 or 10 win team and they're playing for a playoff spot. So that's how good Nico could be in that offense. So I agree. They're going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, a lot of it really hinges on Nico and his development. But we've also seen, how many times have we seen over the years, there's been a quarterback with the upside and the high potential breakout season. They deliver. That team, we've seen first-year starters have been very good, and that usually translates to success. So that means Tennessee falls into that category for me of like a team with a first-year starter at quarterback that could easily go to the playoff or finish in the top 10.